On January 3rd, Indiana legislators met to begin the first regular session of the 117th General Assembly. This was a budgetary session in which lawmakers spent 4 months at the Capitol to address a number of contentious issues. In all, a total of 231 bills made it through the legislative process and to the governor for his final approval. Early on, Governor Daniels introduced an overarching education reform package that included expanding the number of charter school vouchers for students to attend private institutions. Despite the concerns of Senate Democrats and public educators over the unforeseen fiscal implications of new charter schools, virtual charter schools, and vouchers that could result in even fewer dollars for traditional public schools, House Bills 1002 and 1003 were approved by the General Assembly and signed into law on May 5, 2011. Senate Democrats also fought hard this session to protect the rights of Hoosier working families. Right-to-work proposals and attempts to wipe out collective bargaining rights brought thousands of teachers and union members to the State House to voice their concerns.
We work! We vote! We work! We vote! We work! We vote! We work!
Thanks to a walkout by House Democrats, compromises were made on these issues and right-to-work legislation was taken off the table until further research is conducted. However, under the new budget, state employees will no longer be allowed to collectively bargain, and their ability to strike will be eliminated. As session progressed, however, attacks on the rights of Hoosiers continued, with proposals threatening women, the GLBT community, and immigrants. Measures such as House Joint Resolution 6 to ban the recognition of same-sex marriages and House Bill 1210 to eliminate state funding to Planned Parenthood facilities, including those that provide contraceptives and health care for low-income women, cleared the General Assembly, but not without a fight from Senate Democrats. Senate Bill 590 was introduced as an Arizona-style immigration law. The bill ultimately was watered down to primarily address issues of employers hiring illegal immigrants. The enacted legislation now requires state and local agencies and public contractors to verify the citizenship of their employees using the E-Verify system. The drawing of the new legislative districts is a major undertaking of the General Assembly, completed every 10 years after the federal census is conducted. Changes to Indiana's 50 state Senate districts, 100 House districts, and 9 congressional districts have been established under House Enrolled Acts 1601 and 1602. Despite repeated calls from the public requesting more time for consideration and input, the maps were released and approved in the final 3 weeks of the legislative session. When maps were proposed in the Senate, Democrats pushed for delayed approval to allow for greater transparency and public discussion. Senate Democrats also continued their call for new districts to be drawn by an independent commission. The General Assembly's biggest task this year was approving a new 2-year budget for the state. Highlights included several changes to Medicaid coverage, the elimination of the Indiana Tobacco Use Prevention and Cessation Executive Board, and several changes to the First Steps program. With education, the budget will establish a new funding base for K-12 education, the largest appropriation in the state budget, which will incorporate the governor's 2010 $300 million cut as a permanent base reduction. The budget makes other changes in the state school funding formula, including the elimination of a phase-out funding provision for schools that lose students, as well as grants for small schools. Many other topics have been requested or assigned for further review this year. In the budget, a study committee is established to review state laws related to employee unionization and public project labor agreements. The Indiana General Assembly will reconvene in November.